The average directional index is used to determine when the price of a stock is trending strongly. It is not meant to be mistaken for a bullish or bear trends, rather just the strength of the price movement, more as in momentum of a stock, and that's based primarily off of moving averages, price, and time. So down here, what we have is a little chart that I printed off the internet that helped me to conceptualize kind of what was going on here. The main indicator ADX is right here, and this is exactly what we were talking about with as far as the trending of things. So you'll see that there is a bullish and a bearish side to this, and this kind of peaks out here right around those areas, but notice that it peaks at both rising and falling. It just depends on how quick and fast that these things are trending, basically. Underneath we have the directional moving index, which is it has a positive and a negative, both listed down here in green and red, and obviously, the negative one is going to be more positive or going to hit higher levels as the stock is falling down on a bearish side, and vice versa for the positive side of this. So, obviously the question is, how do we make money off this? So, right here, you'll notice that there are points of convergence and divergence in these areas, these four areas that I've been circling around here. These are the price levels off to the side. Well, these are the price levels off to the side, and these are indicator strengths. So, basically 0 to 100 ranking of how strong these trends are going to be. 0 to 25 being basically weak or insignificant. It's said that things above 25 have a strong trend. Anything from 50 to 75 is stronger, and then 75 to 100 is the strongest. So what I found online and how people recommend things is that the bull side should be, the buy-in side should be about when this indicator hits 25 and anything above then. So that's where you'll see this black line right here at the bottom of the graph. And what that tells us is as soon as it's passed, you'll notice up here in correlation, our stock is rising. And it kind of teeters off here in the middle. So this is where we can see how it's really not a bullish or bearish indicator, but more so that when it flattens off like that is exactly when our stock price area right here is going to flatten off as well. So at this point as well too, when the trends are starting to shift, you notice another convergence, because both of the positive and the negative are correlated negatively. So as soon as one goes up, the other goes down. And when these two come together, there will be a shift in price. So the kind of tricky thing to remember here is, though, that this is obviously some kind of like a volatility indicator as well. So that being said, these things get really, like the ADX could be at a very high point the entire time for a really volatile stock. So I pulled up a Tesla chart, for example, and see if I can get all of us in here. So yeah, so basically this is roughly right about here is where our 25 marker is, just about. And if you'll notice, like, oh shoot, and if you'll notice lately, here we go. So if you'll notice lately how this big thing drops off and it shoots right back up again. Tesla's been crazy. Elon Musk has been saying some crazy things lately. So the stock itself is fairly volatile. But if you'll notice at that 25 marker, this consistently stays pretty high the whole time. So this really isn't in the indication of volatility that I was referring to, more so these down here and how many times. And the more flat this line looks, the harder it is going to be able to find opportunities. But obviously we can see some in here. You want to look for the big open areas, and well, really you want to look for the places of convergence, because then and you have to see whether or not after that who is taking off. Is it going to be the bullish trend or the bearish trend? In this case right here, we had a convergence right here because it got pretty flat, whereas it went up. You can see that indicated in the blue right there. So when it diverges again, these are obviously our money-making opportunities. And as you'll notice that these two come back to converge again at this exact point is the exact point that we start taking a really big hit. And obviously you would want to sell at a predetermined level. What I found, what I was recommended, is that people say to buy at the 25 strength and sell at the 30. But my own personal opinion on this is, if this is just a strategy that's out there and it's kind of like a commonly known strategy, it's not a very good one then, because if everybody knows about it, it's not really strategic, I don't think. So my whole thing is like, this is fine, this is dandy, you can definitely make a buck or two off this, but for me, I was thinking that this could be used as some type of indicator to find like some really interesting black swans and crazy random stuff. Because if this is the stuff that is trending, I would tend to think more so about what is the exact opposite industry of the thing that's trending, and then look for some like GARP opportunities or value investing opportunities in those areas, things that would still meet my screening criteria. This is still kind of a running theory in my head, so I don't know like if this is true or not. I'd love to run some like tests on like historical charts and see if there's any type of way to do like historical screenings or something like that with like historical prices and seeing which companies would match up for different time periods. But so that's where I find like the interesting mover. That would be like the contrarian thing to do, you know, and just try and find opportunity in places where other people can't, you know. So that's kind of my whole take on it. I really enjoyed this one. I think it's a really good indication of how to time things right. But I also see how it could be widely known and widely used, and therefore not exactly strategic in that sense. So, like, trying to take that a step further, I'd love to run some tests on these and see if I can actually make something of that. Besides that, hope this was a good presentation, and I hope you had a good semester. Thank you.